Hey, welcome to the Homesteading Simplified favorite fruit section of the course. I'm Scott Bunn. I'm going to go through some low maintenance, tasty, good fruits for early succession and then good fruits for later succession. And if you don't remember, the early succession are the fruits and the things that are growing early on in soil development, early in the project. Some fruits are harder to grow in the early portion when the soil is still maybe compact and not very nutrient dense. And then some things become easier to grow later on. So you can develop the soil further at the beginning by putting in more inputs, or you can let it develop naturally slower over time. Either way you want to do it. One takes time, one takes input and money. So first fruit for early succession, tastiness, high nutrient content is the blackberry. Now I want to take note, I'm in zone 8, zone 7, 8 in upstate South Carolina. Your zone is going to determine some of your fruits, but if you're in the southeastern United States, zone 7, 8 region, you can bank on these fruits doing well for you. So the first one is a blackberry. Now we have native blackberries that are kind of tart, or there's the larger blackberry that's thorny, or thornless blackberry, both the large variety. The thornless, I honestly don't think it tastes nearly as good as the one with thorns. But it's nice to harvest blackberries from a thornless vine, and they're still pretty good. So blackberries is number one. Boysenberries, growing right here behind me, but not what you see. There's actually three things growing here. All right, we have boysenberries, we have grapes, which there's some grapes right there, and we have passion fruit, the maypops. So these are actually three good fruits here. The boysenberries are related to the blackberries. They're a bramble. They're thorny. Boysenberry is a combination between like a raspberry and a blackberry. It's kind of reddish black a little bit. But it's an early season fruit, so it grew. And then after it was ripe, then we started to get the passion flowers. The passion vine started growing up from the ground. And then the grapes have been here all along, but they don't ripen until just about now. So we've got these. This is a scuppernong. These are ripe here. I'm going to have one of these. These do really well. So it's a muscadine scuppernong. The golden ones are the scuppernongs, and the black ones are the muscadines, but they're both related, very similarly related. They taste very similar. And then the passion vine. Okay, so let me explain this here. There's a niche in time and in space. The boysenberries grow in early spring, and then they're harvested. The grapes are the vines there all season, but the grapes don't start to ripen until late season. And then the passion flower, the vine, this is a true perennial, herbaceous perennial. So the vine actually dies down to the ground, and it starts growing about the time those boysenberries are ripening. So it's growing up, and by the time the boysenberries are ripe and harvested, the passion vine is ready to take over. And it'll die off and die down to the ground this fall, and then be ready for next year. So it's a niche in time in that there's something ripe and ready throughout the season. And It's a little dense right now. It's kind of hard to see some of the things. Here's one of the fruits of the passion vine. I think I can probably find a ripe one. Also, so I know I'm talking about three things at once here, but isn't that just beautiful? Let me see if there we go. And so this is an antidepressant just by looking at it, but also you can eat it. And it's pretty good. I should be eating a lot of these right now because I've been a little down. These grapes are sweet, sour, and bitter. So they have a really thick skin. Okay, so the skin is sour. A lot of people don't eat the skin or the seeds, but you got to eat the whole thing. You don't have to, but eating the whole thing, this is biblical actually. I need to look this up. It says to eat the fruit and the seed, or eat the whole fruit, or something like that. But the seed, the bitterness in the seed is antioxidants, and I believe it's vitamin C, but there's probably a lot of other stuff in there too. So the bitter seed, the sweet fruit, the sour skin, eat the whole thing together. You can make wine, jelly, or you can just fill up your belly. Moving on, this is the fig tree. Seems to do pretty well in early succession as well. Now, there are not any figs or mini figs right now, but this thing was popping out so figgy that I couldn't keep up with it. You can prune this down into a bush, but as you can see, it's quite a large tree. Man, I'm full of rhymes today. It's probably 15 feet tall, very bushy. There are lots of varieties of figs. This one's a brown turkey fig, but it will freeze down to the ground if it gets cold enough. Luckily, I haven't had that happen out here because we are on a little microclimate. These trees are quite old. They've never frozen to the ground, but there are ways of planting those in a way that you can prevent them from freezing. But there's also other varieties of figs, like the Celeste is the one that's a little more cold hardy. And there's several varieties of figs out there, golden figs. There's large, some of them are larger, some of them are smaller, some of them stay green, some of them are yellow, some of them are purple. So fig. So really we had numbers 1, 2, and 3. Blackberry, scuppernong or muscadine, I'll count those as the same. Boysenberry and passion fruit. Oh, I did not show you inside of a passion fruit. Rewind. Oh, but I did show you. Sorry. All right, stay focused. My boys love coming and picking all the passion fruits off of the vine. So I might not have any left. I know I saw one, but it wasn't ripe. Might just have to show you that in a slide. All right, so next one while we're here is the kiwi. This is fuzzy green kiwi here. This will ripen up around October. You can see it's very prolific, and it requires a male and a female. It's actually a vine. A lot of people are like, oh, you have a kiwi tree? Nope, I don't. I got a kiwi vine. And this arbor is here so the kiwis can grow over it. But you can see the kiwis have grown out of the arbor and into the tree, and actually quite a ways up into the tree and over into the figs. So lots and lots and lots of kiwis if you can find something to do with them all. You know, that's a good problem to have. is not being able to find what to do with all of them. Here we have a hardy citrus. This one is a yuzu. This has not gotten enough sunlight to fruit this year because of the kiwi, but usually it produces a nice fruit. This is a hardy citrus, so it's a yuzu is like a lemon. Looks like a lemon, pretty seedy, a little more sour. There are some other varieties of hardy citrus as well. Another favorite fruit is the Asian persimmon. There it is. And its glory. Let's find some that are lower. The Asian persimmon. That's what the leaf looks like. There's what the fruit looks like. It is getting quite big. It will get bigger. They will turn red, and these particular ones are astringent. So they are not good until they're ripe, but they have anti-carcinogens, and once they are ripe, they are super sweet and juicy and red. And they are growing little babies here too. So I'll probably dig some of those up and pot them up this fall. So the non-astringent varieties of the Asian persimmons you can eat before they're completely ripe. These you have to wait until they are completely ripe, or you will hate them and hate your life. Okay, then we have apples. Where's the apples? There's a few apples left. Some of them have hit the ground, but there we go. That's a nice one right there. Look at that. Apples. Now the cool thing about apples, along with, ooh man, these things are just ready to come off. The cool thing about apples, you can do this with a lot of trees, but you can graft different types of apples onto one tree. You can do that with pears. I believe you can actually graft pears onto apples because they're related. Don't hold me to that. I should double check that. You can do the same thing with pit fruits. So, hey man, looky here. Just harvested all these apples. That's one variety right there. But there are 3 varieties on this tree. Looks like I'm just getting one variety right now. There are 3 different species growing here together. See, it's been grafted together down there at the base. There's one, there's another, and I think that's the 3rd right there. So one thing about the apples though is they need to have a little more room to breathe because they'll get a fungus. So I need to cut all these vines out of this apple, cut this oak tree out of it, and just let it grow without all the stuff in it. It would do a lot better. All right, apples. Elderberries. This is elderberry right here. I'll show you the elderberries that we have in the freezer in a second. Elderberries, a little bit harder to eat, but extremely medicinal and valuable. Here we have 2 bags full of elderberries. Now these are still in branch form. I just cut the branches off, and then one day I'll watch a movie and just go through and knock all these little frozen berries off of here. Really, it's probably a better way to do it, but this should be enough to make about $400 worth of elderberry syrup. Now that came off of a series of bushes, not just the one I showed you, but they're pretty easy to harvest as far as, just cutting the berries off with a pruner. And then to get the berries from, you're not supposed to cook any branches, so to get the berries from the branch to the ready to cook, it takes a little bit of work. And then you have to cook the berries for a while and add your ingredients. Actually cook your berries, run all of everything through a cheesecloth and get out all the seeds and the stems, and then, well, any stems that are left. And then add your other ingredients like honey and cardamom and whatever else you're going to add. And then you have elderberry syrup. So those came from right here, this whole section through here of elderberries. So that's another favorite fruit, but probably, yeah, it's in like the top 10, top 15. Blueberries are another one. Blueberries are done for the season, but they produced quite a bit, and I'm just actually have a blueberry smoothie inside waiting on me. Pawpaws. This is a native tree. All of the plants related to this tree in this, I'm sorry, all the plants in this, all of the other plants in the family are tropical plants. So it tastes kind of tropical, actually. It tastes like a, looks like a little mango, or they have some larger varieties, look like a large mango. They taste like a cross between a banana and a mango. And I have this particular one growing in the bottom of a swale because they like a lot of water. They grow well as an understory plant. If they're growing in full sun, they have to be mulched pretty well. And they get kind of, the leaves look a little rough in the sun. Asian pear. This bad boy made the tastiest pears. And I don't know if there's any more up there or not, but man, we harvested some pears off of this recently, and they were so juicy and delicious and large. When you plant trees too close together, they will grow tall and they will become harder to harvest. So that's one good thing about having a full spectrum. I planted a lot of this stuff close together because I was really excited, and I thought, you know, if there's some bad varieties that don't produce, then we'll cut those out and let the other varieties produce. We've done some of that over the years, but there's also a native pear that does pretty well. I got a handful off of it this year, and I think there's some more up there too. We have a lot of hazelnuts. They're not one of my favorites, I wouldn't say, but hazelnuts are taking over. Do not recommend planting pit fruits in this region. Most pit fruits do not do well. Some might. There are some plums that do all right. Ooh, watermelon. That looks like it is ready. If it's not already been eaten by something. Pomegranates are also not that great so far, but I've seen some fruits on them. They have not been low maintenance, but they are delicious. Mulberries. There are a lot of varieties of mulberries that do really well, and there's a black mulberry that we've got. There are black mulberries, red mulberries, and white mulberries, and I've seen a lot of great black mulberry varieties in the area, but I've also seen some of the white and the red. They're a little smaller. And while we're here, I want to talk about the chestnut. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Oh man, I can't get one. They're up there. There it is. There's a chestnut right there. They're thorny, really thorny, but you kind of got to break them open. But they're a great source of fat and protein, and it's a good fall fruit. I know it's a nut, but technically it's a fruit. Hey, here's some. There's one right there. Now that's a small one. There's probably not going to be much inside of that one. Crazy cats running around here. Sometimes you have to take a butter knife. I doubt this one's gonna really have anything in it. There's a tiny little bit in there. So that's not really worth it right there. That's just a little old dried up thing. That's not even worth talking about, is it? But you're always gonna have some small ones, and there's a lot of larger ones up there too. You see one from here. See that one? So I'll get a little fruit picker, or just wait till they fall and pick them up. It's good to have fruits, even if you don't eat them or you don't need them. You know, it's good to have them in case you do. And you can also have fruits growing over your chickens if you're just eating eggs, or if you're eating meat. You know, have fruit trees growing up and over, so that when the fruits do fall, they have something to eat. And so this is all pretty much fruit and nut orchard through here. There's grapes and mulberries and hazelnuts, and here's a few of those maypops. See, these aren't ripe yet, but you can eat them at any point. You could eat it like this, or you could wait till it ripens. Tastes a lot better. The skin gradually disappears and turns real thin when it feeds the fruits, and the fruits become juicy. At first they're sour, then they become sweet. But you can eat it all along. We have these invasive spiders here. They're not good. All right, last but not least, the prickly pear cactus. Right there, growing in the midst of a couple other things here too. There are, well, besides the spiders, there's raspberries, grapes, a black locust growing right out the middle of it, and maypops. But the prickly pears are cactus fruit. They're green right now. You can eat the whole pad, but the pads are very thorny, so I just like these fruits. They get big, they're purple, high in magnesium, and the purple power of the health benefits of most other purple things. So low maintenance, prickly. They're not the most beautiful, but they will survive. They're cold hardy cactus, and they'll survive through the winter and produce good late fall fruits that you can put into smoothies. All right, so those are my favorite fruits that we have growing around site. I didn't show you some of the other higher maintenance fruits and things I don't like as well, because they're not my favorite fruits. But anyways, hope you find some inspiration in that, and I'd love to hear what some of your favorite fruits are as well. Please share, comment below, and as this develops further and I have more experience growing more fruit, I will certainly add to this. For now, you know, things I don't have on site that I also like and do well in the area are pecans, different varieties of pecans, and Kusa dogwood, which is an edible dogwood with a little red fruit. Those are delightful. Oh, and aronia berry, which is something that we have growing in, they're new plants. They're not doing that great yet. They are not even fruiting yet, but I just planted them. And they actually have a little passion vine growing up beside. One thing I don't like about the passion vine is it will spread and it is quite invasive. So you got to be ready to manage it or keep it in a pot. But aronia berry is very high in antioxidants, and it's up there with the blueberry, blackberry, elderberry in terms of health benefits. All right, hey, that's it for now. Let me know what your favorite fruits are, and we'll see you around.